Welcome to Sociology Vibes, where we simplify challenging ideas into easy to understand insights. Today, our focus is on the sociological explanation of the conflict theory of crime. The general premise of the conflict theory in sociology is that people compete over valuable social resources. This competition favors the dominant group, which has abundant access to valuable resources, including wealth. Consequently, the dominant group uses these valuable resources to stay in power, disadvantaging the rest of society, especially those with the lowest socioeconomic status. Rather than explaining why people commit deviant and criminal acts, the conflict theory of crime focuses on the social inequalities of the criminal justice system, including political, economic, and other social institutions. This distinction is important because according to conflict sociologists, crime only exists because of the societal structures and systems that protect the powerful class, including the laws written and passed that protect the power class and corporations. While crime occurs at all different socioeconomic or social class levels, wealthy and powerful people are more likely to engage in invisible crimes, more commonly referred to as white-collar crimes. They tend to be less likely to be punished. Examples include tax evasion, insider trading, and corruption, among others. These types of crimes tend to have many victims. For example, tax evasion hurts society, but it is difficult to imagine the damage because it appears as a victimless crime. In contrast, poor and powerless people are more likely to engage in visible crimes, referred to as street crimes, that are more severely punished. Examples include robberies, physical violence, drug dealing, among others. These types of crimes tend to have a small number of victims. For example, vehicle theft creates fear in communities where this type of crime is high. Nevertheless, when a car is stolen, victims are those who depend on the use of the vehicle. According to conflict sociologists, the system favors the powerful class, creating an unequal criminal justice system. When wealthy people are tried for crimes, they have access to quality legal representation. In contrast, poor people are denied equal legal representation, often having to rely on public defenders with very heavy caseloads. To prevent a logjam in the courts, public defenders and prosecutors encourage people who lack access to wealth to plead guilty or no contest to a lesser charge or prison sentence. The wealthy and powerful class and corporations use laws to maintain societal control and protect their assets. They also have unlimited funds at their disposal, keeping their cases in the court system for years. Laws protecting material possessions and punishing property crimes are also powerful tools in maintaining the status quo of the capitalist economic system in which private ownership is favored and emphasized over public ownership. Compared to average members of society, the most wealthy individuals have an enormous stake in protecting their financial assets and wealth. They benefit the most from cultural values and norms that promote individual over collective social well-being. While other theories on crime fall under the conflict theory umbrella, they all emphasize the unequal power differentials between the haves and the have-nots. crime is explained as socially constructed or created to benefit the interests of the powerful and the wealthy. Conflict sociologists study incarceration rates and draw attention to race, ethnicity, and gender disparities in prisons as evidence of the inequalities of the prison system. They also study the school-to-prison pipeline, citing zero-tolerance school policies that disproportionately target disadvantaged minors with expulsion from school and punishment requiring juvenile detention. While many of the people incarcerated are in prisons due to strict drug enforcement sentencing laws brought about by the war on drugs during the 1990s, the opioid drug epidemic of the 2000s had different results. Some of the corporations manufacturing and distributing opioids that played a significant part in the opioid epidemic only faced government fines for their role. Although the fines were in the billions and multi-millions, most of the corporations have multi-million and billion-dollar annual profits. They are also able to file for bankruptcy protections, shielding them from financial liabilities. A controversial bankruptcy agreement was rejected by the Supreme Court in 2021, which would have provided financial settlements to victims and their families and drug treatment facilities by Purdue Pharma, the makers of the drug OxyContin, while also protecting the wealthy Sackler family owners of the corporation. The deal was rejected as being too lenient, while at the same time further prolonging this case in the courts for years. While few notorious crimes, such as the case of Wall Street investment management company owner Bernie Madoff, received much media coverage, poor people are disproportionately represented in the incarceration statistics. Conflict sociologists study the biases and discrimination embedded in society's criminal justice system. In our everyday lives, we can study these disparities, becoming more socially aware, and advocate for reforms that promote fairness and equality. The Black Lives Matter social movement brought much attention to these problems, especially for young Black men and women, as millions of people marched, both in the United States and around the globe, in support of demands to reform the criminal justice system. And this makes sociology worth exploring further, don't you think? Thank you for watching. Be sure to comment below with your thoughts, questions, or any topics you'd like us to explore next. Let's keep the conversation going and our community growing. See you in the next Sociology Vibes video.